The Greek general Odysseus is far away from his homeland, Ithaca. He has just fought in the Trojan War. The war ended when the Greeks used the Trojan horse to sneak inside Troy and destroy it from the inside out. After his victory, Odysseus must find a way to return to Ithaca. However, he encounters many obstacles on his way and eventually arrives at Phaeacia, where he begins to retell his story to the curious Phaeacians. New Coasts and Poseidon's Son. Created by J.P., Bradley, Jeremy, and Kelsey.
Odysseus begins by lauding himself as formidable for guile and peace and war. This has gone abroad to the sky's rim, and then describing the beauty of his homeland of Ithaca. His obvious boasting indicates that he is rather vainglorious, concerned first and foremost with himself. Then he tells the story of how he and his men successfully raid the coastal settlement of Cicones, before the Cicones army suddenly drives them back to sea while they are drunk on victory. Out at sea, Odysseus and his men endure heavy storms for 9 days until they land on the coast of the Lotus Eaters. Some of the men eat the lotus and enter a state of bliss, losing all will to leave. But those who ate this honey plant, the lotus, never cared to report, nor to return. They longed to stay forever, browsing on that native bloom, forgetful of their homeland. The induced bliss and desire to stay where the men eat the lotus blossoms can be compared to the effects of modern-day feel-good drugs, which also influence the user's state of mind and easily cause addiction. Odysseus reacts to this development by dragging them back and tying them to the ship, where they all leave immediately.
They land safely on a deserted island near the land of the Cyclopes, who are giant man-eating creatures, each with only one eye. However, they cannot seem to avoid trouble. Overcome by curiosity, Odysseus sails with one ship and a crew to the mainland. He wants to see just what sort of creatures these Cyclopes are. Odysseus always appears unable to turn down an adventure despite possible consequences for him and his men. He seems to act as if he is invincible. He enters a cave full of cheeses, goats, and sheep. His men suggest, why not take these cheeses, get them stowed, come back, throw open all the pens, and make a run for it. Odysseus disregards their somewhat sound suggestion and chooses to wait for the Cyclops to return to the cave. When the Cyclops does return, he rolls a boulder in front of the opening, preventing any escape, and as he talks with Odysseus and his men, he suddenly eats them.
The Cyclops is now a clear enemy, so Odysseus hatches a plan, and he and his men secretly fashion a pike out of an old tree. Odysseus introduces himself as nobody and offers some very strong wine to the Cyclops. The Cyclops falls asleep soon after drinking the wine, and the men take the opportunity to set their pike on fire and shove it straight into his only eye. Though the Cyclops cries out, the other Cyclops only hear him say that he was fooled by nobody. Odysseus and his men hide under the sheet to escape when the Cyclops lets them back out. Odysseus makes a very poor decision and yells to the Cyclops various taunts and boasts, and worse, reveals his true name in the process. The Cyclops, armed with Odysseus' name, calls upon Poseidon to curse Odysseus by bringing destruction and misfortune for the remainder of his travels, if he even ever is to return home. The Cyclops then seizes the top of a hill and, using the sound of Odysseus' voice, hurls it at the ship, but barely misses. Odysseus gathers all men and they continue their journey home, unaware of the misfortune to come.